And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel. Today we're taking a look at a humongous game, Who Goes There? I mean, a really big game. This is a Kickstarter style game. The Who Goes There is the original story on which the movie The Thing was based on. So this is essentially a game about The Thing. With a big rule book, a ton of pieces. There are 2 expansions for the game. I'm not going to be reviewing these separately. They just add 2 more characters each, basically, and some more pieces for the game itself. So we're just be taking a look at the game overall. There's a lot going on in this game, so I'm not going to cover every detail. Here's some basic things. Each player is going to be one of many different characters, realizing that a couple of these characters, 4 of them precisely, come in the expansion sets. So you're going to get a character, you're going to get a board, you're going to get some action tokens here. You have an extra action token that you will get later on. You have a special die, you have some special things, you have a certain number of stamina, some of it starts exhausted. You have some item slots to put more item slots, although that needs to be unlocked. And a special helicopter bonus if you unlock that, and a character. You also have your own deck of cards, and on your sheet itself it shows you exactly what is in your deck of cards. So these are cards that as the game goes by you're going to be able to get these different cards and use them over the course of this game. So this is the board itself. It has basically 2 locations, the inside and outside, and then in each of those spots you can be in the workshop and storage room, or you can go to these different areas that are going to be on the board as the game goes by. There's a dog here that keeps track of the rounds of the game, and in certain rounds you're going to have to eat, you're going to have to sleep, and bad things are going to happen. Eventually you're going to try to get out via the helicopter. There are different kinds of cards. You're going to can go and search outside for cards. Inside you can search through the storage and the workshop. And in many of these cards that you're going to find are simply going to just be materials. These are all materials, rope and metal, and you're going to be using these materials to build various things. Like, for example, I can build a club if I have wood and metal, and then once I have a club I can upgrade it to a torch with adding fire. And so you have all different things. There's a whole tray full of the different tokens that you'll be able to use, and once you have these tokens you'll be able to stick them in your item slots on your board that you have. Now the storage deck also has some materials in it, but also has things like alcohol and trash, which is pretty much useless, and maybe some guns and just various things that you'll be able to use over the course of the game. So you're going to be going to these locations to search for those. Outside, when you go through here, you got to be careful because there's a chance that the thing will attack you, which is a bad thing overall. But you're also looking, these are the most important things, you're looking for cards that have helicopter bonuses on them. And you might find some other cool things that are outside also, but the helicopter bonus cards are definitely the most important things to find. There are various things that all players are going to have to keep an eye on. You're going to have to keep an eye on the boiler room. The boiler room allows you to regain stamina when you're inside, and as the game goes by you will occasionally be adding strikes to the boiler room. Different things will cause strikes to happen, and if the boiler room explodes people are going to take damage inside, and you won't be able to regain stamina anymore. There's also a door, and you want to be inside if possible, so that you don't take stamina damage. Being outside will cause that, but if the door breaks, then you have that problem inside also. Now these things can be repaired. That's one of the action type things that you players can do, but these are things that you are constantly on the lookout for. You also have a bonfire over here. The bonfire is a place where on your turn you'll be able to add cards to this bonfire, and someone can light the bonfire, in which case that gives everybody stamina inside. Now I mentioned this track over here. This is the most important part. You know, this is going to go each round of the game, and there's also spaces on this track you can skip if you want to play a shorter game, which I highly recommend. But if you're outside, you're going to lose 1, 2, and 3 stamina. And you don't want to lose your stamina because stamina affects your die rolls. You can see here when you're rolling dice, if I have all these, if I have any dice here, I get 1. If I get dice in there, I'm going to get 2. dice when I do different actions. So if you run out of stamina though, you can take strikes, and if you get enough strikes, then you will die, and dying is a bad thing. But back to this board here, on some of the rounds you're going to have to eat, and so players are going to have to find some canned food that they're going to eat, and that's usually found inside. I mean, alcohol will last you a little bit, but you're basically looking for canned food. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems. Also, you're going to have to sleep at night. So you're going to want to sleep, find someone to pair up and buddy with. And if you can't, then you're going to deal with these vulnerable cards. Over the game, various things are going to cause you to take vulnerable cards. Most of these cards have nothing on them, but one of these cards has the thing. And I mean, once you get this, you're infected. Now, once you're infected, anytime you spend some time alone with someone else, you'll have to show them your dial. If you show them this, you're not infected. If you show them this, you are infected, and at that point, they are now infected also. And you are now a bad guy, and you no longer want to get away on the helicopter at the end of the game. So there's a lot of different things like not eating or sleeping alone that will cause you to draw these vulnerable cards. When vulnerable cards run out, players will take strikes. Strikes are deadly too. There's regular strikes that you can take, and then there's critical strikes. A critical strike, you need to heal as soon as possible within the next turn, or it gives you another strike. And if you get too many strikes, then you are dead and out of the game. On a player's turn, they're going to have these actions that they have here. They can move, they can search, they can build. Each of these is going to cost a certain amount of action, so you keep track of that. You're also going to be getting experience points for various things that you'll do over the course of the game. And as you collect experience points, you can spend these experience points, which, by the way, look like this. You can spend these to get these things. So I might want another action at 6 experience points. I might want to get this die. This die is great because I get to re-roll at the beginning of every turn and use it for some sort of thing. It might give me a free resource of my choice, or a bullet that I can use in my gun. Yeah, maybe some more experience. Each player has a very different and unique die, or get some more stamina unlocked, and extra item slots. And when you have everything else open, you get extra bonuses for the helicopter at the end of the game. There's really a lot more to talk about in this game, but there's just so many rules included with the game. You're just going to be trying to get through these rounds and survive. When you get to the end, the team leader, and the team leader is going to be, you know, different players can is going to have the team leader here. By the way, you can attack someone and take them out of the game if you want. The team leader is going to pick who gets on the helicopter, and then you're going to need a certain number of points per player. All right, so everyone gets on the helicopter, and then you'll find out if humans are on the helicopter, if there's infected people on the helicopter. If there's infected people, you need to get even more points on the helicopter. If everyone on the thing is human, then you need to get to the helicopter total, and you're going to roll this die here for each human on board, and then add any of these helicopter points that you have gotten over the course of the game. And if you folks as a total have done that, then the humans win. If an infected person's on board, then they can cause the helicopter to crash. Otherwise, the helicopter can crash anyway, and everyone loses. So the humans can win, or the thing can win if the bonus is less than a helicopter total. So if this sounds a little complex of what I'm saying, that's because it is. This is 2 pages of rules in the game that explain about the helicopter. I'm sorry, there's a third one. Oh, here's another one. There are 4 pages here about how the helicopter works. So basically, you need to count all the human players who are in the game, whether they are alive or dead, which means the thing really doesn't want to infect too many players because it makes it a little bit easier possibly. And then you need to multiply that number by 6. Let's say I'm playing a 5-player game, there's 3 humans, I need to get 18 helicopter points. Now each person in a helicopter can roll this die, and maybe we'll get 3 6s, but probably not, and so we need to add the helicopter points to get to that total. Now on one hand, the components for this game are amazing. All right, there's a lot of really cool things. I love these player boards. I like the artwork. I don't think the miniatures are like amazing. They're okay miniatures, but they're fine. The cards are super great quality. It's easy to tell what each card is. The tray that holds all these tiles is great. There are dice here that you're rolling to accomplish different goals here, and you need to roll a 5 or 6. Like I said, I didn't go over everything. I mean, a 50% chance you need to roll successes to do various things over the course of the game. The game comes with a great insert. There's actually 2 inserts for the game, and this is the one part I'm not a huge fan of, is the box is so huge. It holds everything fine, but this is the insert for the deluxe version of the game, which holds both of the expansion packs. And then this is the insert for the game as is. It is literally the same size. This box is too big. This game is too big. It's a fine game and everything, but it could easily fit in a Ticket to Ride size box. This box doesn't fit on the shelf very well. I do like that they show you how to put everything in the box. That's great. But there's so much wasted space here. You can see here just how much, there's just so much plastic here. And this box fits the expansion stuff. And I think that they could have done that in a smaller box or had a small base box to begin with. That's my only complaint. Other than that, absolutely stunning thing, wonderful. I love all the production in this game. Okay, a lot to unpack here. Let's start with the rule book. The rule book is beautiful. It has all kinds of stuff, and it has everything you need to play the game, but not in a very good order. So I open up the box and it tells me the setup. It tells me how to start playing the game. It tells me about action dice. Then it just starts talking about rounds and this and that. And I'm like, well, wait, you have all this stuff, but then it tells me about the characters. I'm like, well, where's how to play the game? And I get to the back here, and there's now talking about miniatures, and suddenly it tells me my actions. I'm like, oh. And then it tells me about more camp elements. It's really, everything you need is here, but it's just in a random order. And so I'm constantly doing this the whole game. So that's problematic. I thought the rule book was. It looks nice, but just not in a very good order. As I said, amazing production. I mean, it's a big game, but it's a game that you are not going to open this game and pull it out and say, oh, I didn't get my money's worth. No, you got your money's worth. And I want to like it. And I tried to like it, but I can't. And there's a few reasons for that. There's a lot of cool concepts in this game. Go inside, stay outside. You know, outside is where you need to go to find really cool stuff, but you're going to take those hits constantly and lose endurance. And you go inside to get warm, and you find stuff, and you're building the different items that you need, and you're interacting with other players. That's great, but there's a couple problems. First of all, who the thing is not a fun part to this game. So at its core, the whole concept of the movie and the story is, who is the thing? Is it you? Is it you? You're acting suspicious. In this game, if you are the thing, if you get the basically the infected as the game goes by, you have no reason to play anything other than straight the whole game. So there's no way to really suspect someone other than to say, you've taken more of those cards than anyone else, so you have a higher chance. But the guy who took only one card could be the one who's infected. And so this whole, it's you, this paranoia didn't really exist until the end of the game, and you're like, oh, who's getting on the helicopter? Well, I'm not taking, I don't know what to take, you know, and I really felt like that was a missed opportunity. And they have these cool clickers that you show people. I love that concept. The idea of I'm bunking a night with him, I'll bunk at night with you, and you know, she and me, we're gonna bunk together, and yeah, we're gonna do that, and we're showing each other things, but that doesn't, there was no real sense of dread there, like, it might be you. And in a social deduction game, that is so important. That's problem one. Problem two, randomness. This is the biggest problem of the game, so much so that I literally don't know that I mean, this is the thing that knocks me down from liking the game to not. That final helicopter ride, this die, which, by the way, exists solely to roll once per game. If that isn't component ridiculousness, it's a cool die, but you roll this die once per game can very likely determine if you win or lose. Oh man, that's a lot of randomness on a couple die rolls. But that's not even it. The rest of the game is random. Go here, I'll search your stack. Boom, I got attack. Boom, I failed my attack. Boom, I take this. Or boom, I found an attack. Boom, I got these helicopter point cards. I mean, it could go really good for you, it could go really bad for you, and it's just on these dice where there's 50% hits, there's the cards in the deck, that card you might need might be shuffled in the bottom, and I know that randomness usually tends to even out, but in this game it might not. In this game, you might suddenly have the boiler blow up, and suddenly people, and the game can spiral quickly downwards. It might not, but it can, and that's not fun for a game that's this long. So there's just too much randomness between what's in all the card decks. You actually remove some cards from the game at the beginning, and you might remove some of the best cards. And again, I don't see how that's fun. Then, so there's randomness, and there's that weird, the game is just too long. It's really not that. You feel like you're doing the same things over and over again, but you never feel like you're doing anything really fulfilling. I move here, I search, I get item, and now I do that. Maybe I'll warm up. Okay, my turn's over. Now I wait for everyone else to do their turn, so now we do it all over again. And it doesn't have an exciting narrative. Sure, you go outside, oh, I was attacked by the thing, ooh, because I drew a random card. But that exciting narrative isn't there. This game has all the pieces of a great game. Different actions that you can do, things you can unlock. You know, which ones do I pick? That's really a cool concept. Building different equipment, that's a cool concept, but that's negated by you're finding random materials, so you don't know what you're going to be able to build, and you might not be able to build the thing that really matters at any given point. Inside or outside. Outside, I love these concepts, but the fact that that whole who is the thing is diluted. The fact that randomness is huge in a game that's fairly long. We're talking a 2+ hour game. There's a lot of randomness in it, and it just doesn't feel like a tightly put together game. Now here's the thing. I'm probably not in the majority here. Most of the players I played with have agreed with this. Some like the theme so much that they say they're willing to overlook that. And I get that. The whole, hey, it's the thing. Do-do-do-do-do. So I understand some people are going to like that, and some people may not be bothered by all the problems that I just mentioned. And like I said, no one's going to open this box and go, man, what a ripoff. Not going to happen. So there's that. It's just that I feel like this game could have been greater. This whole idea of the thing, this whole idea of going around and finding people, there's so many cool concepts here, but they don't gel together as well as they should have. I mean, it starts off on a bad note with a rule book that's pretty hard to figure out. And then it compounded by the fact that you feel like a lot of what you do over the course of the game doesn't really matter, compounded by huge amounts of randomness, which might be great for you. You're like, hey, look what I'm doing. I got myself a gun and a torch and all this. And the guy next to you is like, please, sir, may I have some more? Because they don't have that much. So overall, I'm going to have to pass on this one. It's a barely passing thing, right? I mean, it's barely, any given day, it could have gone the other way. But it's too big for me to say, hey, this is amazing, without it actually being amazing. So, who goes there? I wanted to like it so much more than I did. Dice Tower Judgment? Almost, but too random.